Welcome to The Fix. Sit down with copywriting experts Nick O'Connor and Glenn Fisher as they review, discuss, and improve real-world copy sent in by you. This is The Fix.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Fix, something a little bit different today. A few weeks ago, Glenn asked you, our audience, for the biggest copywriting challenges that you're facing at the moment. So today, we thought we might grapple with a few of these. We'll get through as many as we can in the next 20, 25 minutes or so, and we'll see how useful we can be. You may notice, I have to bring this to everyone's attention because it's the biggest thing in my life at the moment. There is the biggest thunderstorm I've ever seen going on outside. Me and Glenn have been on the phone.
Very strange. I'm in Ruth's my mother-in-law's, one of her spare bedrooms, whilst Ruth does the kiln downstairs, and it's really sunny and like dangerously hot that I might like swelter and die in here. Yet over there, it seems that you are amongst.
Yeah, well,
rain.
It's it was sunny when we started talking on the phone. I had to leave the phone call earlier to dash outside and take my washing in because I'm going to America tomorrow. I had to wash all my clothes. Now, thunder and lightning, it's absolutely lashing it down. Anyway, that's not of any interest to the world of copywriting.
It's not.
What is of interest is the first challenge that we've got. So,
first challenge. So we've got loads. So let's try and get maybe 3 today. I'm not going to say people's names because people were very nice to share these. Some of them are deep kind of concerns. Some of them are more universal. We'll go through them all because I think sometimes you don't share what your biggest problem is, but someone might have the same. So I will try and avoid the thing. I will say, like, my name is X.
That's fine.
That thing. So my name is X and I'm a copywriter at a fintech company. I always try to make that sound cool, but it couldn't be further from the truth. It's an accountancy software, bland and no place for a writer. I have no real interest in finance, but it's where I've applied my trade. After stumbling into the role, I've now reached my ceiling and need to change before ChatGPT gets me. Evil. My problem is, despite everything I've created over the last 2 years, there's very little, if anything, fit to make it into my portfolio. That's obviously my ticket out of here, whether to an agency or elsewhere. I have the experience to hop around fintech for the rest of the time, but that's not for me. I want my work to be seen and heard and one day be forced for good. I read about the golden age of advertising. I listened to Dave Trott. My LinkedIn is all about copywriting. Above all, I love what I do, but I'm worried my industry doesn't, and the creative days are numbered. Without this turning into a therapy session, I'd love some help, whether it's advice, some briefs to reinvigorate my portfolio, or a nudge in the right direction. I'm all ears. So to summarize, someone who's stuck in one kind of niche, if you like, in the fintech world, and wants to kind of get out there, start doing copy for other things, and loves copy, but how do you go about doing that? Nick, thoughts, feelings?
So the first thing I'd say is, this is somebody who's clear about where they don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're not particularly clear in that message about where they want to be. And that may well be because they don't know yet, which is fine. But it's a lot about, okay, I don't want to be here, ChatGPT, I don't want to get into that, but like, just because everybody talks about that, so whatever. Creative days are numbered, whatever, I want to build my portfolio. But what you have to try and figure out is, where do I want to be? Because one part of that message said, I want to try and build my portfolio so that it's seen. And the obvious question is, well, seen by who? Who is your customer in this objective, in this career transition? You need to establish who that is so that you can build a portfolio that will impress them. Also, that you can ask for their help building a portfolio. By the way, people in the industry, in my experience, understand, they're writers themselves. They understand this thing of, well, I want to write, I want to be creative, I don't know where to start. They understand that. They've probably been there themselves. You're not the first person to see that. And they tend to respond well to people asking for help and mentorship and guidance, especially if it's unpaid. They might not give you a job, but they'll definitely give you a bit of a hand. Not everybody, but in general, it's safe to assume that people will give you a bit of help. So for instance, if you want to go into the agency world, well, which agencies, which ones do you like? Why do you like them? It shouldn't be because they pay well. Well, I would argue it shouldn't. Creatively, why this one and not that one? Figure that out. Figure out who is running those agencies, who is doing the work. And then you can go one of two ways. You can try and make contact with them and say, how do I get a job with you? You don't have to give me a job, but I'm here and I want to be there and I want some advice. Because at least then you're getting advice not from me, who's general and outside, but from the person who holds a position relevant to where you want to be. Or you can create a portfolio that you think would appeal to that person and then just pitch them. Either way, you need to know where you're trying to get to. I don't think you'll just find your way out and automatically find that out is any better than in. It needs to be a discrete and purposeful step into a role or an industry or in a direction that you really think is going to make you happier creatively.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I think it's really hard because it's much easier to know what you don't want to do than what you want to do. Acknowledging and admitting, like, oh, I'm this person, I want this, I like this. Many people, like millions of people, are unable to do that, like, and are in unhappy careers because of it. When you realize what you do like and you spend the time figuring it out, and then you can, as you say, direct your life, direct everything you do towards that, you'll be much happier and think. But I think from the sounds of it, the fact that this person doesn't quite know where they are, knows that something's going wrong, but doesn't quite know what's out there. They've listened to a bit of Dave Trott, they're surrounded by copy, they're hearing this stuff, they're hearing the boring conversations about chat GBT and all this kind of stuff. That's all, it just sounds like noise to me. I think take a moment to think, right, well, what do you actually look like? What do you not look like? What do you like? What do you like the look of? Where are the areas that you do feel are good? Forget fintech, forget what kind of experience.
Don't worry about that.
Don't even worry about that. Just
you don't want to do that. You've solved that problem.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. But then once you've got that, you might find, I'm just trying to think, if you did that, then you'd be like, oh, well, there's this I like, there's this I like, this. It's like, you might then get to a problem where you'd have the paralysis of choice. I think then get it down to 3 and like kind of start speak, like then maybe go to a friend and say, oh, I'm really interested in this. Look for reflections about your character and other people at that stage of like, well, actually, Glenn, why would you want to become a plumber? You're terrible at this. You have no idea what's going on. And then you'd get back down to like reality of what, but from that, I think you'd end up seeing where you want to be. Then, as you say, I think the key thing is just asking nicely, how would I go about this? Doing the research.
Then we could be a bit more, we could just organize it slightly different. So you could say the sector, figure out what sector you want to be in, or sectors. So sector first. Within that sector, which companies appeal to you? Yeah. What work that those companies are doing particularly excites you? So you've got sector, company, work, and then people. Who are the key people within those companies or within that industry? So you need to be rigorous in that, right? It can't be nebulous. It won't just happen. It's a plan. And you, by the way, if there's 3 things you think you might want to do, you probably have to pick one, try it. If it doesn't work, you go, it's like an ABC test. You just got to keep going until you find the control. So sector, company.
Yeah, really good way of thinking about it.
And once you've figured out those people, you need to try and get in touch with them. Some of them may ignore you. Some of them may even be rude to you. But in general, it's best to assume that these people might know something about the industry or might be able to give me some insight into what it's like working here. If I can try and persuade one of them to have a coffee with me for 20 minutes in the interest of learning, that more often than not, people will be good rather than...
I was going to say also on that front, once you've got down to that people, maybe when you get to the kind of the actual companies, so we're looking at sector, but when you get to the, you can find probably podcasts, live events, community things where those people will be. Like, for example, even in my own little world, I know I've got Fix Fest. There's going to be a load of people there. I know I'm going to London this week, going to Copywriters Unite. There's going to be people from those companies there. There's going to be people on that I interview on a podcast. So I know people could find people through me to that thing. So what I mean is, when you're looking for those, you can find these people. Yeah. Go hear them speak on YouTube, search for them immediately and go, right, I really like this person. What do they think? Because they'll probably be somewhere on the internet telling you how they think, what they think about. So go and do that research.
Not that big an industry. These people aren't that hard. They're not, either the best copywriter in the world is not Brad Pitt. They're not completely unobtainable. You know, even just through my network is very limited, really, compared to, say, even to yours, but you know, a lot more copywriters in, say, the agency world. You know, we are able to contact and find our way into some of those industries. So it's not as hard as you would think, but you need to know, where do you want to be, and therefore who do you want to talk to? Right, next challenge.
My biggest challenge at the moment is finding work, which probably boils down to a confidence issue. For context, I've had a year of work on maternity, so my old clients have understandably moved on. There weren't many anyway, as I knew I was going to be busy with a baby. I'd been copywriting for about 2 years prior to the arrival of my youngest. So 2 things here I'd just mention. Obviously finding work, and that's a big thing, but we'll give some quick tips. But also boils down to a confidence issue, which is an interesting little spin to put on that, because the only confidence issue there is your own confidence, which is interesting. But also, coming back from maternity leave, you've lost some of those old relationships. What's your first leanings there?
Well, one, that it's not easy at all. You know, well, I've never been on maternity leave, but my wife has, and lots of my, you know, I'm at an age where lots of my friends have been kids. So that is not an easy thing to deal with in general. And sometimes it's worth just saying that out loud, because, well, one, you're not alone. 2, you're not imagining it. It happens to tons of people, and it's really, really difficult. And you know what? Some people will show themselves to, well, they'll tell you something about themselves. It may not be something good, may well be something bad, in the way that they behave around you in that situation, which is tough to take. But better to know that about someone. You know, someone drops you because you've had a kid, whatever. I'm not saying that that's exactly what happened there, but it could be a learning experience. This is going to be a bit self-referential, but I genuinely think writers groups, networking with other writers, so that may be through the Fix and the Fix Accelerator. However, there are other writers groups out there. I mean, obviously, none of them are anywhere near as good as what we do, obviously.
Nope.
But yeah, they probably cost more as well, and they won't be as good. And you won't get free drinks and stuff like that. All the sort of stuff you do. Anyway, I'm joking. Networking with other writers, because everybody feels low on confidence sometimes. It's bullshit. The thing that annoys me the most about the copywriting industry, the way it presents itself, is people who act like it's easy. It's not. It's not easy. If you're trying to act like you just do these 3 things and then your subject lines weren't there, bollocks. Not true. That's a lie. So we're trying to network with and get out of that world of people acting like there's a trick to it, or that it's easy or whatever. Copywriting is a world of doubt, anxiety, uncertainty, and frankly, failure, because most of our prospects reject our offer. Whatever type of advertising we write, most consumers do not buy as a result of it. A fraction do. And the size of that fraction is what decides how successful our career is. So bringing yourself into an environment around other real writers who are going through that, plus some of the stuff that's more specific to you, will help rebuild your confidence. I don't see any other way that you can do that. You need to be around other writers. And if you can, you need to get them to look at your work, and you need to look at their work. That's a great confidence booster, by the way. Let me help you. Help somebody else out. Review their work. Nothing makes you feel like, no, I know what I'm talking about here, like helping somebody else improve their work. So be prepared to work with other people, and for it to be a 2-way exchange. That, I tend to find, that does boost your confidence.
I think that does boost your confidence. I think that's the first half of a 2-part play that is essential, and you need to do that But I would say also those writers groups, stuff like we do with the Fix Accelerator, but there's many more out there, loads from people who I love and are great. That's the first part, what that does is it gives you the confidence, but it supports you, and it makes you feel like you're not alone, and there's stuff going on there. And there might be leads, there might be actual direct leads from that. But one thing, the second part of that, which I would just say, and it's almost like if you go too far down that alleyway, though, don't give all of your time to spending it talking to other copywriters. Focus on businesses as well. What I mean to say by that is I see too many copywriters out there looking for work, just asking other copywriters for work, or just telling other copywriters that they need work and that they're available for work. They're not going to employ you. Like, businesses are going to employ you. So you need to get out into places where there are businesses. So though it might not be as cool and it might not be as fun as, say, like a Fix Fest, although technically there's businesses there, but rather than like a copywriting, where locally, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people talk about, but like where locally, every place, every city, every town, even like a town like Grimsby, has a business community of local businesses. And there's a load of people going there, local businesses, who are making the same mistake, but on a business level. They're just talking to other businesses about the same problems. But they're all looking probably for copywriters, and they all need copywriters. If you turn up and you're the only copywriter at that business meetup, you're going to walk away with a couple of clients. So I would always just, if you really are looking for a place to start, it's not fancy, it's not going to agencies, it's not like doing a website, it's just going to the really boring local, like in local in a regional sense kind of thing. Go to that local business meetup and say, hi there, I'm a copywriter. I sell your business for you. I do all the work, and you're going to find clients.
Do you know what?
A couple of them, then go to the agency and go think, but do the boring work first. What is it? Taking the apples off the low-hanging fruit or whatever.
Take the apples off the shelf. But it's on one there, which is try and find an environment where there might not be loads of copywriters, where you might be the only one. Ask yourself along, or ask if you can come along to a meeting that's not predominantly for that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just you need both. You need both. You need the group of writers for the confidence, for the knowledge, for the learning to be good. But then you need to go away. Don't spend all your time. Spend half as much time as you currently spend on LinkedIn actually going and approaching businesses and doing that stuff, and you will immediately start to get clients.
Just final point, don't be afraid to be honest and vulnerable. Tell people that story that you told. Again, copywriting is an industry that is beset by bullshit and people pretending. You can cut through that by just being all normal and honest. And that story that you told, however brief, is emotional and resonant and means something to people. It means something to me. I'm not somebody who's just done maternity leave, but I'm connected enough to the world to know how important that is. And lots of people very close to me are now or have been in that situation. And therefore, it spoke to me on an emotional level. So don't be prepared, or be prepared to be really honest and vulnerable if you have to. Glenn, next challenge, let's try and do one more challenge. We're going to do two more. Right, come on, because I'm not going to rescue my kids from this.
Yeah, one of them is a thing, and then you'll see why the fourth one is a bonus one, because the answer is really just an upsell to what we do. This one more genuinely is biggest challenge, marketing myself. I seriously dislike it. Also, having small children to look after, but there's not much you can do about that. That said, there probably is on the time management front. I would say that's well, actually, I'll let you speak. You've got 2 kids, so how do you manage that time? But also marketing yourself. You don't like marketing yourself. I do. I love speaking about myself, but.
So on the kids thing, I can't speak to. I mean, my wife doesn't work, and she's really supportive and lets me work when I'm good. I don't work all day, and I do work in the evenings sometimes, and I try and help out times like now where they might need collecting because of the thunderstorm. But I can't really. I'm not fitting in being a dad. I'm a writer first, and so that's my job. Marketing several. There's two ways of looking at this. One, get somebody who ask somebody who, another copywriter, to help you market yourself. You're a product to be sold. Okay. The reason that you don't like doing it is because it's cringeworthy or you feel awkward or whatever. Well, there might be somebody else in that situation. Could you swap? Because it's easy to sell somebody else and talk about why they're great. Write it in the third person, write about yourself or get somebody else to write about you and you could do the same for them. It's like a mix and match. So there's that, if you can't do it, there's loads of people whose job it is to do that. And you have a skill that you could swap with them. The other one is maybe to get a little bit deeper and say, why don't you like marketing yourself? I don't market myself an awful lot. However, that's not through, I just don't need to. I have good clients. The people who I need to know me. They know I'm good at what I'm doing. And if I need a new client, I'm only one referral away. And it's generally that's enough. But I know I'm good at what I do. And if I had to write an advert for myself, it would be a good one, because I like selling good products. And I think that what I offer people is a good service. And I think I could prove that. And that's really all marketing yourself is, isn't it? It's the core skill of what we do. You've got to sell a good product. So if you're assuming that your product that you have to sell is good, then you just got to try and find a way of doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's unfair.
No, it's one of those things where it goes back to the confidence thing of the previous challenge. But I always think about it. We talk about a lot in our household because I obviously sell myself through the fix and everything. So we're trying to get other copywriters to come. So I'm talking about myself quite a lot. And I've done that historically. I am also a megalomaniac. But Ruth also sells her own pots and she's got a ceramics business. And she's the opposite of me. She hates being the center of attention, hates marketing herself, hates talking about it, hates doing reels on Instagram and all this kind of stuff. The irony is, what she does is brilliant. She's really good at it. And I always just say, look, you're good at this. You're trying your hardest. You're doing the best you can. If you believe in your product, if you believe in what, as you're saying, if you're a good product and if you look at it and go, well, no, I'm trying to do my best, you should talk about that product as much as humanly possible. And you should have no shame of talking about that because it's good. You've done the best. No one wants you to fail deep down. It was actually, I was trying to remember this the other day. Someone said to me, no one wants you to fail. It was your best man speech when I was really scared about doing a speech. And someone said to me, no, but Glenn, no one wants you to fail. They want you to be funny and they want that to be a nice situation that they have. That's stuck in my head. No one wants you to fail. Don't get me wrong. There's some evil, horrible people out there, but generally, if you go out and you do a good thing and it's cool, that's cool. Like Ruth, has been doing reels of her performing and doing things. She's a good looking person. She looks natural. She's fun. She's authentic. She shows a vulnerability and it looks fantastic. So the point is, go back to why do you feel that you don't like to market yourself? It's probably because you feel like you're not doing the best thing you can or whatever. Ask that question, are you? If the answer is yes, if you're doing the best you can, then give yourself permission to go out and go crazy.
Here's another way. Okay, so another way of thinking about the is just a different approach. Lots of copywriters so think about the way I described my own marketing. I don't really do it because the way I do market myself, the way I have generated my client base is just direct through referrals. I need to speak to that person, whatever. Well, you can apply that same logic. So lots of copywriters, let's say on LinkedIn, are taking the sort of fake it until you make it approach, which is front up to the world and try and act like you're the bollocks until somebody believes you are, which I think is a stupid approach, frankly. I mean, maybe it works for some people, but we've encountered some people who are doing that, Glenn. And when you actually get them on a phone call, they tend to get a bit scared and they sort of want to run away. You're like, well, hang on, you're presenting yourself to the world like this. You don't have to do that just because everybody else is doing it. I mean, I don't. There's loads of writers who don't. What you can do is say, I don't care what everybody thinks of me, except these 5 people who I really want to work with. And the only people's opinion that I care about now is theirs. how do I establish myself with those individuals in a way that will be beneficial to me? Now, that is a different problem. That's still marketing. It is absolutely marketing. It's much smarter marketing, I would argue. There are people that might give you money.
It's a really nice thing about it, actually. Reducing it down, you could almost go down to one person. Who's the one person you respect, and what do you think they would think of you? So,
it's not even
think about that.
Can they employ you? Are they a prospect for your services? If they are, they're your market. That's marketing. So it's not even about getting the respect of other influencers. Like, who cares if I think you're a great copywriter? I'm probably not going to employ you. Probably.
I don't mean like getting respect of influence. I mean that you identify that one person who you care about, who you think, oh, if they would think I was silly. In the same way, I write a lot of copy to my granddad. If I think my granddad would go, this is bollocks, then it's not good copy. It needs to be enough where you go, all right, okay, well, that sounds kind of interesting. You do the same thing. If you feel like that person would go, well, that's a bit cringy, you are writing cringy then. So you need to just isolate that one person that you want to market to, and then forget the rest. That kind of comes back to the wire. You write it for ruggies and cops, and then everybody else will be like, wow, that's really cool. Because I'm
not even saying that, Glenn. No, you're misunderstanding me. I'm saying don't care. You're not even going to share this with everybody. So you're not writing for that person. I'm saying don't post on social media. Write that person a direct message.
Oh, right.
Get them on a phone call. And I think that approach could work too.
Well, you're saying don't market yourself, ultimately.
Find a market of 10 individuals and send them emails and get them on phone calls. Write to them, build a relationship with them, and trust that if they're the right people, if you can sell 2 out of 10 of those people, they may.
What you're really saying is, do you even need to market yourself in the broader sense of the world of meaningless fucking, you know what I mean? It's like it's the world out there. Just market yourself to the people that can.
That to me is one, I actually think it's more effective, and 2, it does change the game away from this branding, announcing, social bullshit world, and says, who can pay me? Who do I want to work with? Who might need copy? How do I build a relationship with them? How do I grow that relationship? And you could invest all that time you're thinking about the world into those people, and over time, that will probably pay off more anyway, because most of those people out there on social media are not going to be hiring a writer at some point. So that would be, and I think there's less cringe there. And you have to cold email them, but you only have to do that once. And you're only trying to build a relationship. You're not asking them for work up front. So build a relationship with key individuals would be, or you could try to do the wire approach, but I'm sort of trying to get away.
No, I see what you're saying. I think that's a good thing. So the last one, and you can answer it in almost like 5 words because it's a call to action. My biggest challenge right now is getting feedback. I'm looking for productive and constructive feedback on my copy, specifically why something doesn't work and how it can be taken to a higher level. How would people go about getting good feedback on their copy?
This person wrote this to the fix inbox, did they?
Okay. Oh, so new subscriber.
Okay, delete that email that you just wrote. Paste the copy that you would like reviewing into that email. Hit send it to feedback@thefixcopywriting.com. We will review it for free on the Fix, or join the Fix Accelerator. And not only we will do that for you, we'll do it for you privately if you like to. We'll record you a video and send it to you directly, or come on our live calls on a Friday usually, and we'll review as much copy as you like, as often as you like. In fact, we reviewed one person, Alex, one of our Fix Accelerator members' copy. I think it was like the 7th week in a row. We reviewed the same piece of copy. So we're effectively, I wouldn't say we're copy chiefing him, but we're not far off that. And what does the Fix Accelerator cost? £10 a month, $12? You won't find that level of feedback, but anywhere near that price.
I would say that headline and lead that he was working on got to the point where you could probably give that to an Agora.
Yes, you could.
And it could go out. It was a strong, but it started out not very good.
Unformed.
Yeah, unformed, and Alex knows we've given him some. He's come from a good place, but yeah, it got to a really good place. So yeah, send in your copy. We've got a load of more challenges to look over, but we will be doing every other episode at least reviewing copy. So send it in, feedback at thefixcopywriting.com. We've got a load more, but we've ticked off 4 there, Nick, so that's not too bad. We've got about 24 more.
Right, we'll have to do 2 episodes a week until we've cleared the backlog. Right now, we need to wrap this episode up because I have to go to America in the morning. I have to go on. I just had to bring my washing in off the line and other stuff. Now I need to go unpack and rescue my kids from the swimming pool because it's raining so much. So I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us today. We will see you again next week. The next time an episode drops. Thank you very much and goodbye.
If you enjoy The Fix and want to get access to even more good stuff, join the Fix Accelerator today. Get access to special masterclasses from Nick and me, watch expert interviews with industry legends, join live copy feedback sessions every week, and get connected to our very own private copy network. Visit thefixaccelerator.com for more information.